Greetings everyone. This is my third time trying to do this video. Had to delete the first two. I don't know why. But anyway, I'm gonna jump in it. I saw a post on someone's Facebook page. Person was talking about asking a question about black men that are broke. But the way it was worded was very negative and the N word was used, and I refuse to use that to refer to black people really. There are times when I say Negroes just to be sarcastic, but even so, but to use that word, when you think about that, the N word and what it means, most black people who were called that name usually were looking at the barrel, down the barrel of a gun. They were being strung up on a tree. Their houses were burned. They were being raped. They were being called this horrible word before they saw death. I will never accept that word. But anyway, these black women were talking about black men that are broke, and it was supposed to be funny, but I don't find it funny. And I know that we have a lot of issues in our communities with black men. Black women experience a lot of negative things. Black men experience negative things from us women. But let's talk about this. And I'm going to say something. We as black women, we say when we see black men marry white women or other women of other races when they get wealthy, we get up in arms about it. We get very angry because we're like, oh yeah, these good for nothing so and so. As soon as they have two dime, they go off and they marry all these other women of other races. But I'm going to say this, and as a Jamaican, I'm going to say this very loud and clear, that I understand why a lot of black men don't want you when they get rich. A lot of black men don't want to be with you black women when you're rich, and here's why. You, wherever that's coming from, I don't want to get into psychological assessment of my own women or my own people today, but what I'm saying is, if you look at the way you treat some black men when they live in the same community as you, they grow up in the same country as yourself, you go to the same school. Let's keep it real. A lot of us black women, we don't want our fellow black men when they come from our community, because if they're poor, we look down on them, we look down upon them. And when these women are all saying, what does this broke but have to offer? What they got, or what do they have to offer to us as women? I'm thinking to myself, wow, here's a black woman that limits her own man. The black man really does need that support behind him, that push behind him, that encouragement. And when black men see things like that, they're not just reading it on social media, they're actually living it in their real lives. There are black women who are not interested in a black guy, unless he is driving a nice car, he dresses a certain way, puts him in a position where, this is why some guys sell drugs. This is because the opportunities are not available to him. I'm not justifying it, but I'm saying sometimes this is why these guys get involved in drugs. This is why they get involved in crime, because some of these same black women who claim that they want upstanding men, they want criminals. They don't care where the black guy gets his money from, as long as he can help them to wear the latest brand name or designer wear, or show off on their friends, or show off on their family members, or just live fake lives. A lot of black guys that get wealthy, when they get wealthy, they go off and marry other women, because some of these other women, not saying all, but some of these other women were interested in them even when they had nothing to offer. But a lot of us, all of a sudden, the black guy becomes this big catch because he has money. And if you want to be honest with yourself, you can't possibly feel good to know that someone did not like you until all of a sudden, when you work hard and you come, they had no hope for you. They didn't encourage you. They didn't stand by you. They would never stand by you. If you were to pick some of these women, the moment the money runs out, they're gone too. And I'm not talking about men today. I'm not justifying what black men may or may not have done to black women. That's not my point. My point is, some of us women, we are very materialistic, and it's nothing wrong with that in of itself. But you're criticizing these men that they don't want you, and you're not being honest with yourself that some of you women are like wenches, and you will lay down with a man because of the money that he can afford to give you, and you don't call yourself a prostitute. You wouldn't say you're a whore, but you can be bought. The problem is that I'm having is that when a woman picks up that guy that you call a broke, mm, you know, and she is willing to work with him, and she's willing to stand by him and support him, there you come along like a real parasite, and you interfere in that relationship with that man and that woman. You have no conscience at that time. You have no problem telling your friends, I'll take your man. I'll take a gal man. So it's not, I'm not responsible if your man want me. I'm going to take your man because of what he has to give you. I have a problem with that. So when you see a lot of black men go off and they marry other women of other races, uh, please understand that a lot of times we turn them off. And usually these men will come back and they will have a roll in the hair with you, and they will enjoy themselves. In the back of their mind, they're thinking, I could never want you. I'm just getting a piece because you are available for sale. A lot of people that you look down upon, a lot of guys that you look on today and say, oh, this broke end guy that you think you're better than is going to come up and come out. And he's going to one day become something great. And you're going to want to be with those persons. And hopefully those guys can see right through you. It was very unkind when I read it, and hundreds of comments. And the women were all saying this stereotypical thing, saying that this broke so-and-so man had a lot of baby mothers, and this broke thing just has a key, and this broke person stinks. And this, I was thinking to myself, they were talking about, these particularly Jamaican men, because based on what they were saying, you could tell they were referring to Jamaican men. And some of these Jamaican men have not had the experience that some men have had. Some of them are very ambitious. Some of them have had to push hand cart to go out there and make life for themselves and for their kids. Not every man that is broke is unambitious. Not every man that doesn't have a lot of money in the bank account or have these material things are useless or unworthy of somebody's love. So you might not want that person. I understand that we all have that choice to decide who we want and not want in our lives. But please, for heaven's sake, when you abandon these men, and then you see all of a sudden, for example, they get an opportunity to travel and they come out, you are the same ones dropping your drawers for these same men. You're the same one that all of a sudden is worthwhile having because he has some money. What does that make you? It really upset me to hear my own sisters talking about black men. Now, it wasn't just about men who abandon their kids, because the same women who are criticizing these men and saying, oh, these brokers, so and so, were not good and they had a bunch of kids. But these men who have money, wherever they get it from, whether it be legitimate money or, illegal, illicit gains, these men, some of these scammers, these women who are talking bad about these guys, calling them names, would still lay down with these men, with the same amount of women, with all these bag of kids, if those men have money. This is grateful. Really is. So my sister in Japan, you were asking, trying to figure out why people are the way they are now. You want to know if it was people who are doing wicked things, or if you should be looking to see if it's demons. And my opinion is the devil and Satan are people. Demons, however, do exist. They are real. We are in the spirit realm, and there are demons. But these demons are fed by people. First of all, they have to be invited. Demonic possession comes from us being opened up to certain things, opened up to certain entities that sometimes we lure in, trying to get favors from or benefits from. And if individuals try to attack you using demonic force, once your heart is clean, your hands is pure, once you are not open People might try to attack you, but you'll find an escape. Um, Things have changed, but it's not that the change is so drastic that you can't recognize it from the past. It's because we have more exposure to these things now. Therefore, it makes us more hardened. I do understand why some black men choose to be with other women when they get wealthy. And it's not to say that some of these other women are not going together with them because of their money. But sometimes a man is willing to go through that mess with another woman. A black man especially would rather go through that kind of abuse with another woman than on his own. There's something about getting abused by your own people. There's something about being rejected by your own people. It's just not a nice feeling. And so they'd rather take their chances elsewhere. Be aware of what you're saying. Be aware of how you treat people. Stop limiting persons. Stop limiting what can possibly be someone's outcome. And if you're not interested in a guy, you're not interested in a guy, but you don't have to try to make tear people down, break down people's self-esteem, because the same people that you try to destroy with your negative energy and your abusive speeches will one day come around and you'll be ashamed. God bless everyone.